What funny thing happened at school that caused utter chaos for the faculty? The student got a hold of a lot of explicit pictures and taped them to all of the school clocks, suspended from the ceiling. None of the teachers were tall enough to pull them down, so they were up there for a bit. Our PE teacher putting us in wrestling moves in the boys' locker room. The school was not best pleased when it came to light, and neither were the parents. When my husband was about 11, he brought a 5-gallon bucket of garter snakes to school for show and tell. At lunch, all the snakes escaped, and they were catching snakes for weeks. During a talent show at school, a magician's escaped rabbit caused chaos as faculty members scrambled to catch it, leading to an entertaining and memorable situation. In the practical part of physics class, our teacher at the time showed us a few experiments with magnets and electricity. In the end, half the district edited to clarify district as in a part of the city, not something bigger, had no more electricity because the lines were overloaded. Our teacher had a smart little car and we managed to get it up to the 3rd floor and put it in front of her classroom. Someone put a cow on the roof. The cow couldn't come back down because, apparently, cows can't go downstairs. So they had to bring it down with a crane. A boy in my class brought some locusts in a show and tell. They escaped and got into the air vents. This was just before summer break. School came back to a full-on play, the student fighting with the principal. It caused chaos between students and faculty. Security had to come in and pull them apart. That time, cell phones didn't exist, so no one filmed. This girl in year 9 wrote a very explicit fanfic about 2 male maths teachers and everybody had either read it or knew about it. The 2 teachers couldn't look at each other for weeks after that. Senior prank: the country guys brought grease pigs into the school. Labeled them with spray paint 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Imagine the frantic radio calls and locations of where pigs were located one by one. Took them a whole day of diving around wrangling pigs until they figured out pig 4 didn't exist. One time, in 1st grade, when the teacher left the room for 5 minutes, I scotch taped all of my classmates together. They loved it. My teacher came back, had a breakdown, and called my mother in tears. He did what? My mom asked. He taped his classmates together. Is that all? My mom replied. Bless her. Teachers went on strike in the 80s. We joined in just to get out of doing double maths. Chaos ensued. There was almost a huge race war at my middle school between Hmong and white. A kid dropped a fucking metal pipe out of his sleeve in math class and told the teacher it was a thermos when she asked about the noise. Thankfully the whole thing was shut down by a ton of police just before lunch. In chemistry, the teacher had just gotten a new batch of sodium and dropped a piece that was definitely too big into a large clear container filled with water, but hey! I was a sophomore, so what did I know, right? Vape. A second later the container of water burst and there was a hole in the ceiling. So bravo, my friend. Someone put a stink bomb inside the restroom, and it stank the rest of the day. The student got caught because there was a camera close by the restroom. Someone kept lighting the 3rd floor bathroom on fire. Happened several times. They eventually just closed the bathroom. Due to an armed suspect running from the police in the nearby neighborhood, the school decided nobody was allowed in or out of the building for safety. Then someone pulled the fire alarm, and absolute chaos followed. Junior year, 2010-2011. Student was getting a blowjob in the cemetery behind the school. You had a direct line of sight from the cafeteria. Facility was trying to get everyone away from the windows. Easier said than done when 2 walls were just floor-to-ceiling windows. They banned shorts because they were not professional enough. So all the boys wore skirts as a protest. Our 70 senior class president, Sharon, led the flag salute over the public address system from the principal's office one morning, and upon completion, while the microphone was still on, the principal was heard saying, "I love it when you wear those tight white sweaters." Someone wrote a survey about the girls' breast sizes. Me and my buddies were accused of it, spent all day in the principal's office being accused by every teacher in school. 3 years later I found out it was a couple guys in the class ahead of me. The smart kids played music on the PA system and nobody could figure out how. I admit I was flattered when they asked if I did it. I was surprised if I could my ass with both TB hands. To be fair, they chose good music. They could have been dicks and played To Live Crew. We were closing in on graduation and people knew they wouldn't see each other. So people beefed out the beef. Our whole last month, there was many fights. It was a senior prank one year and somebody brought a ton of chickens into the school and released them. I can't remember the extent, but the students responsible for it got in a lot of trouble. Also, I wasn't in high school for this, but the high school in the town I live in now had a black bear break into the school. Lol. Took a while to get him out. One of our teachers convinced a female student to come over to her house to help her study on several occasions. She was one of the popular girls and did just fine in her classes, as well as played sports. She loved to gossip, and word got out that she was really going over to fuck the teacher's son. The problem is, he was 26, she was 16. A kid in grade 5 put sprout seeds in the fountain. It backed up the entire plumbing system over spring break. 8th grade science teacher was talking about motion. He had a rope attached to a tennis ball, and was swinging it around his head. He accidentally let go and it hit the kid in the back of the class in the face. Somebody unscrewed the classroom door and left it supported by the hinged tension. Angry teacher came back from his march to the head of department and slammed the door. Except it didn't slam, rather come off the wall completely, and absolute madness ensued. Ah, good times! Changed all the computer classes' screensavers to local school sucks and put a password on it. I felt bad after like 15 minutes because the joke ran its course and I didn't do it to get back at the teachers or anything. My co-conspirators were mad at me for giving them the password, but nobody got in trouble since the teachers and I were usually cool. I wish this happened at our school instead. But all we got was a bomb threat during finals week in 2002, 2003. Someone kept pressing the fire alarm button because they'd found a place where the cameras couldn't see them do it. Every day for about a week we would have one go off and everyone had to go and stand outside in silence. Very boring, but not as boring as the lessons were. Also me throwing a snowball right at the window that students on the inside were looking at us through because they couldn't convince their teacher to let them go play in the snow. The window did not break, but I'm sure the impact was thunderous. So much so that when we were waking back into the building, dude was there waiting to tell on me. Okay, this comes the closest I guess. Someone had a severe accident involving shit in the bathroom. Imagine a murder scene, but the blood is replaced by crap. That's what it looked like when I saw it first. Someone in my high school sent letters to everyone they deemed virgins' parents saying their son or daughter was tested for and found to have an STD by the school nurse and that they needed to come to the school immediately. Used the school letterhead etc. so they got charged with mail fraud. Lol. Someone at my high school put large purple dildos on these gargoyles. They were up for a couple of days, they're pretty high up. It was the talk of the town. Lol. In the middle of the school day, a maintenance worker found a car on the roof. No one knows how or when it got up there. It was from a junkyard, so no registered owner. They had to evacuate the building because they were afraid the roof would collapse. 300 out of 372 students are vapors and weed smokers at our school. The school has quite a track record with local PD, and the Substance Abuse Council. They can't do anything though. My old age is kicking in. My first thought was utter chaos, and funny thing probably shouldn't be in the same sentence together because someone is equally likely to think the utter chaos has just made their life miserable. On the last day of school, someone had led a herd of cows onto the school playing fields. On another occasion, a drunk student had blocked one of the doors to the school with a very haphazard wall of bricks. It must have taken him ages to stack them up. Science teacher at the end of the day, on his last day working for the school, decided to drive his motorbike through the hallways. No one got hurt, but the school board was pretty irate. Some group of kids went around to all the bathrooms in the school and ripped all of the toilet paper dispensers on the wall. They jammed them into all the toilets. There was this young teacher that was the subject of schoolgirl fantasy. She wanted him so badly. I mean, she knew exactly what she wanted to be. She had this longing inside her. And we knew it, she was totally an open page. Anyway, there was this one day she was up at his desk marking in the gradebook. She was so close to close even though she was half his age. A guy from my class around 9th grade once lighted one of those little fire wheels that are in those Sylvester packs in the classroom. And many were also throwing firecrackers around, and because of them we now have some burn marks on our wall. The entire gymnasium smelled burned for the rest of the day. Fun times. My teacher always threw the keys at us if she was angry or locked us up in an empty room till the school lesson was over. 2000. Teachers trying to stop kids smoking in the bathroom, so they locked the bathroom doors. Kid took a shit on the carpet in front of the bathroom door, like right in the main hallway. Chaos ensued. Today, that kid is a pastor. Lol. As a senior prank, 2 seniors dumped 2 trash cans full of bouncy balls down the central staircase in our high school. Fucking hilarious. Some teachers were just stunned. Others were trying so hard not to laugh. People were still finding bouncy balls into the following winter. Someone kept taking a shit into random trash cans on random days. They never caught who it was, but my 11th grade math teacher thought it was an employee just because they couldn't find the person. Senior pranks: thousands of bouncy balls all over the school, alarm clocks hidden everywhere and set to go off at different times. One was put into the ventilation system and went off for 3 years. All boys school and posted now accepting female applicants and got it on the news, etc. Friend of mine called the local Domino's pretending to be the principal of our high school and ordered 100 or more pizzas. An hour or so later, a pickup truck with a flatbed full of pizza boxes arrived. The school faculty were losing their minds over how to pay for the obscene amount of pizza. This girl giving 20 other girls botched nose piercings in the school bathroom. It was only funny because the girl doing them clearly had no idea what she was doing, and several of her own piercings that were completely infected and terrible. They kept the girls' bathroom door propped open for the rest of the year. There was an assembly and they had everyone submit their name for some giveaway drawing. The name that was drawn first was William Goatsy. Several friends submitted it. No big deal, but it was funny. Health teacher gave the class masturbation as assigned homework. Asked the next day to raise hands if we'd done it. No longer teaching that class. Small, fat, ugly creep of a teacher got to 16 years old pregnant with twins. He had to marry her. Not a good look for a Catholic school, but hey ho, that's oldham for you. Some group in my senior class spray painted penises all over the school the first week. Somehow never got caught.